The journey begins with Aava checking her messages, and Naomi is already in full helicopter parent mode. She is dropping warnings about snakes and loose holds, which is valid, but the anxiety is palpable. It is giving major attachment issues, but you can tell she genuinely cares. Naomi jokes about watching from the couch, highlighting the massive gap between her comfort and the danger Aava is walking into. Waking up on the side of a cliff is a brutal reality check. Aava has to pack up the tent, and the struggle is real. The vibe shifts from resting to locking in immediately. It is that specific kind of morning grogginess where you question all your life choices, but she pushes through the discomfort because the summit is not going to climb itself. Chris, the manager, leaves a voicemail that screams toxic productivity. He is spiraling because Aava is not posting content for the sponsors. Imagine being halfway up a vertical wall and your boss is nagging you about engagement metrics and photos. It is the ultimate capitalist nightmare where even a life-or-death adventure is just another opportunity for brand activation and clout chasing. It is Ava's birthday and the squad sends a chaotic audio recording from a bar. Hearing them drunkenly sing is sweet, but also induces major FOMO. It emphasizes how isolated Aava really is up there. While her friends are living their best lives and getting wasted, she is alone with the wind. The contrast between their party energy and her silent struggle is stark. Naomi calls with a heartbreaking update about their cat, Capsule. Dealing with sick pet drama while physically unreachable is actual nightmare fuel. Naomi tries to downplay it, but the guilt trip is unintentional and devastating. It adds a layer of emotional heaviness to the physical exhaustion, making Aava question if being this far away from her real life is actually worth it. Aava runs into Marco, and he is basically a Stan account come to life. He clocks her immediately and starts nerding out over her vintage gear. It is kind of cringe, but also wholesome. He is just happy to be there, completely unaware he is interrupting her main character moment. He brings a chaotic golden retriever energy that disrupts the serious tone of the climb. A letter from her dad shifts the mood into deep territory. He talks about grief and things left unsaid, bringing generational trauma onto the mountain. It feels like Aava is carrying the weight of her family's expectations along with her gear. The text reveals that this climb is not just physical. It is an attempt to resolve some serious daddy issues and past regrets. Marco roasts Ava's robot for being ancient, calling it a rust bucket. They share some miso soup, and Marco admits he is ready to quit and go watch Netflix in his van. Honestly, unbothered king behavior. He knows his limits and prioritizes comfort over glory. It is a refreshing perspective compared to Ava's intense drive to suffer for the sake of the summit. When Marco asks why she climbs, Aava gives a totally rehearsed, media-trained answer about becoming one with the mountain. Marco calls her out immediately for sounding like a press release. It is satisfying to see someone check her on the fake, deep persona she puts on for sponsors. She realizes she cannot use her usual script on someone who is actually out there on the wall with her. The environment turns spooky as they discover ancient dwellings carved into the rock. It looks like a cursed apartment complex from centuries ago. Seeing the remnants of a past civilization is a grim reminder that people used to live and die here. The vibes are definitely off, and it reinforces the idea that the mountain is a graveyard for ambitions and actual people. Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. Aava encounters a bizarre guy obsessed with crystals and rocks. He is giving major NPC energy, rambling about souls and geology while living in a cave. He seems harmless but deeply eccentric, living his best cottagecore life in the death zone. It is a weirdly charming interaction until you remember how terrifyingly isolated he actually is from the rest of society. Naomi's voice returns, asking the question living rent-free in everyone's head. Why did Aava leave? The guilt trip is astronomical as she talks about the dying cat. Aava is trying to focus on not falling to her death, but the emotional baggage is weighing heavier than her backpack. It is a brutal reminder that life back home does not pause just because you are on an adventure. Aava and Marco find some abandoned booze and decide to have a drink. It is a rare bonding moment, but drinking at this altitude is certainly a choice. They talk about how people down below just do not get the climbing lifestyle. It is a bit gatekeepery, but it solidifies their connection. They are trauma bonding over the struggle and the shared insanity of their situation. Marco hits a massive wall, literally and metaphorically. He is spiraling, falling repeatedly and losing confidence. Aava steps up as the ultimate hype woman, coaching him through the moves. It is a solid redemption arc for her social skills, proving she is not just a solo grinder. Helping him succeed seems to give her a boost of energy that she desperately needed herself. Things get dark as they discuss mortality. Marco is terrified of dying alone and becoming a skeleton on the mountain, while Aava seems weirdly at peace with the idea. It is a stark contrast between Marco's anxiety and Ava's almost nihilistic focus. The conversation is deep, existential, and kind of concerning. It shows just how different their mental states are regarding the risks they are taking. They reach a high refuge and meet Grandpa, who turns out to be the legendary climber Damas. Finding a living legend hiding in a cave is a massive plot twist. He has been ghosting the world for 12 years, which is the ultimate commitment to the hermit lifestyle. He represents the end of the line for most climbers, living in the space between success and failure. Damas drops a reality bomb. Nobody goes higher than this. The summit is a myth or a death trap. He has a room full of souvenirs from people who tried and failed, which is morbid as hell. It is supposed to be a warning, but for Aava it sounds like a challenge. The boomer energy of telling the younger generation it is impossible only makes her want to do it more. Aava finds a radio and tries to call Naomi. It is heartbreaking because she finally tries to be vulnerable but cannot find the words. She admits she does not know why she is climbing. The signal is weak, matching her emotional state. It is a total breakdown moment where the tough exterior cracks, and she realizes she might be chasing something that does not exist. The weather turns catastrophic, and Aava starts hallucinating or disassociating from exhaustion. The line between reality and the climb blurs completely. It is pure survival horror now. She is pushing past physical limits into a fugue state, driven by sheer stubbornness. The mountain is fighting back, throwing everything at her, and she is barely holding on to consciousness as she forces herself upward. The robot, her day one companion, finally gives out and dies. This hurts more than any physical injury. Begging the machine to turn back on is gut-wrenching because it represents the last piece of support, vanishing. She is truly alone now, facing the final stretch with zero buffer against the elements. It is the emotional climax, stripping away her last comfort before the end. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.